This is the fulfillment of lots of words that we read from our prophets in the Tanakh, the Bible.
Yoni, this is the 31st Nefesh B'Nefesh flight. Could you give us some numbers about this plane load of Olim?
Yeah, you're asking about numbers. Well, it's very interesting how here, when we're talking about immigrants, new Olim, new Jews coming to Israel, it's much more than just numbers and statistics. I mean, all these numbers are very, very...
15,000 is here, also 5 physicians, 220 new Olim, and many more will come, and this is the most important thing. This is the true Zionism.
It's supposed to be the cold weather on record in 1,000 years.
What reasons do we have for this? Is this climate change? What's going on?
We don't really know. The experts don't even know.
Biggest snowfall in recorded history.
100 million people will be impacted by this storm. That's 1/3 the population of the United States.
Sprays of freezing water from Lake Erie shrouded a lighthouse near Cleveland, Ohio.
Unusually cold weather continues to pound the eastern half of the United States, and it is very serious. It's pushing temperatures well
The
below normal.
catastrophic earthquake in Chile was so powerful, it knocked the Earth off of its axis and shortened the length of the day.
Tonight there is another measure of how powerful this earthquake was. Listen to this. It moved so much mass on the planet that government scientists estimate it moved the Earth off its axis by about 3 inches, and as a result shortened the day by a few millionths of a second. The quake raised the ground level of one island in Chile by 6 feet. And it most certainly turned the lives of millions, as we've seen, upside down.
Australia is experiencing one of the worst floods in the past 70 years. The BBC says the flooding has reached biblical proportions.
Now to our top story, a terrible mystery gripping the world right now. Birds, fish, and all kinds of creatures just dropping dead in huge numbers for what seems like no reason.
Just when you thought there couldn't be more change going on in the world, it turns out magnetic north is moving. Aviators knew this. It's always moved, but not like this. In fact, it's on the move about 40 miles a year now along the polar cap toward Russia.
But this is all a sign of the apocalypse.
Thousands are feared dead after a powerful earthquake hits Haiti in the Caribbean, the worst for 200 years.
Is making headlines around the world as the country recovers from the 8.9 magnitude earthquake that sent a tsunami crashing over the mainland.
A major tsunami has struck northeastern Japan
In an event that geologists call historic.
It all started with an 8.9 magnitude quake that hit around 2:45 p.m. local time in Japan, 12:45 in the morning here on the East Coast. It is the largest recorded quake in Japan's history. It is also the 5th strongest quake in the world in the past 111 years. And there have been at least 19 aftershocks, including several stronger than last month's devastating quake in New Zealand.
Clueless about what it might be. Back on the screen, what is it? We don't know. We are stumped. Scientists around the world are saying, what the heck is this object? It doesn't fit any of the profiles of the usual suspects. That's the problem.
The usual suspects are comet, meteor,
stars, galaxies, planets.
How about some sort of alien dealio? You buy into that?
Well, you know, the object is about the size of the Rose Bowl Stadium. So it's too small to be a planet or a star or a galaxy. And it's not a comet. There's no gas in the tail of that comet. It's not a meteor because it's not inside the Earth's atmosphere. So what is it? We're scratching our head. The only thing we can think of at the present time is a once-in-a-lifetime event, the collision of 2 asteroids in space. We've never seen that before.
Hey everybody, this is the massive solar flare that took place today, February 13th. Check this out. Does that not look like the red horse of the apocalypse? That is the massive CME that was ejected off the surface of the sun today. They say it was close to an X-class, which is huge. Signs in the heavens, in the sun, in the moon. Matthew chapter 24.
As you know, in 2006, while nobody was looking, neither the Federal Reserve nor the Treasury, not Congress or even the White House, the American economy began a catastrophic descent as the early stages of the real estate crisis started taking shape. 2 years later, in 2008, the true scope of the devastation became crystal clear as the stock market collapsed, the credit markets dried up, banks melted down, and unemployment began to soar. America was thrust into a recession and a period of national misery not seen since the Great Depression. Every citizen in this country felt the stress, the fear, and the uncertainty that came with not knowing how long the malaise would last and how deep the damage would be. Well, we all know this story by now, but why were the people in Washington, whose sole responsibility was to prevent this kind of a meltdown, incapable of protecting us from this crisis? Why did the leaders of America allow our country to sink into this financial abyss? Where were their voices of reason? What does the future hold for our great nation?
Intent and goading whenever possible. Bloodied men gesturing at the police. The Royal Bank of Scotland building fast turned into a symbolic target of the anti-capitalist demonstrators. It wasn't long before its windows were smashed. Demonstrators dancing through the shattered glass with glee.
I think everyone's fed up with what's happened, really, with the world economy and how little...
All kinds of new ways to safeguard and identify all those things that make each of us unique, our faces, even our fingerprints, even our eyes.
Jewel Osco grocery store in Chicago, some customers pay using their fingerprints. No paper or plastic.
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.